the end goal for Pitch is to make stacking sats peer-to-peer the standard. So basically, pre-coiners will not even necessarily know about KYC or not KYC. They will, because the KYC free peer-to-peer will then become the standard. If we manage to make Pitch Bitcoin top of mind awareness for the pre-coiners in the next bull market, then I think we will solve the liquidity problem, and we will make stacking sats peer-to-peer the standard.
Welcome to Bitcoin Basics with your hosts Faris and Gordon. Visit bitcoinbasics.help if you need help buying and securing your Bitcoin. We have a brand new podcast. Visit myprivacy.help to subscribe. Did you know you can completely control your personal information without relying on a third party? Faris, Gordon, and industry experts explain how you can reclaim control of your data, your privacy, your life. Visit myprivacy.help.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bitcoin Basics podcast with your usual hosts, Faris and Gordon. The time of recording is the 6th of June. The price of Bitcoin, 6th of June, 2023, sorry. The price of Bitcoin is $25,770. Sorry, it is late in the evening for me as we are recording, if you cannot tell. Satoshis per dollar is 3,880, and the block height is 793,099. Gordon, how are you doing this evening?
I'm great, thanks, Faris. It is not my bedtime yet, so I am still awake. We just interviewed Steph from Peach Bitcoin, and it was really good. And like my podcast, Faris, I do more research than you, but that's okay. But I actually found that. I
would challenge that, but I'm just too tired right now. It's getting late for me.
We've got no evidence whatsoever. I actually found it even more impressive and met my expectations and even more, because what these guys and girls, what they're doing is solving the problem of how do I buy Bitcoin privately? How do I buy KYC-free Bitcoin? And yes, there are ways to do it, and we've discussed many ways to do that in the past, everything from BISC and HODL, Paxful, whatnot, even Binance peer-to-peer. But I won't say they all suck, but there's problems with them. And even HODL now requires you to KYC yourself. So you got to buy peer-to-peer Bitcoin, but now I have to do a selfie with my ID. It doesn't make any sense. So they're solving a massive problem of the premium to buy KYC free Bitcoin, and they're solving the liquidity problem as well. So I was amazed. I'm super excited. And if you are thinking about buying Bitcoin, or you have Bitcoin, but you want to buy Bitcoin privately, this episode is for you.
Yeah, sorry, just to reiterate on that, I'm nowhere near as technically mined as Gordon, but I do know what I'm doing when it comes to buying and selling Bitcoins. And I have tried this HODL, and you kind of look at them, you're like, it looks like I could easily make a mistake. So I actually never even used them because it just looked too complex. And I was worried I'd make a mistake. Whereas with what Steph is doing with Peach Bitcoin, it's explained and set up elegantly. And they've done it with obviously targeting the noobs, the first timers. And I was very impressed.
Super impressive. Have a look at the episode, and I will link everything. There's a lot of links and stuff like that in the description of the show notes. And so here's the interview with Steph from Peach Bitcoin.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, and share so we can find others like yourself.
Well, good evening, Steph, or good morning where you are. Thank you very much for joining us. And for those of you just tuning in, Steph, we're just going to get you to tell us a little bit about yourself. What's Peach Bitcoin? But first of all, what's your Bitcoin origin story? What was your Bitcoin eureka moment?
Good morning, Faris. Good morning, Gordon. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to talk with you right now. So I'm proof of Steph, as you can recognize from my accent. I come from France. What's my Bitcoin story? I'm class of let's say 2017. But in 2017, I discovered more like crypto as a whole, I guess like everyone else. And I was kind of working in the crypto industry-ish as a freelancer out of New York City, actually, with like a crypto project in New York City. And I traveled a lot at the time to conferences in the US, in Asia, a lot in Asia, because at the time of shitcoin in 2017, Asia was crazy. And in conferences at some point where I was a bit tired, I mean, I never really understood crypto. I was having a lot of fun, but I didn't understand. I didn't click with it, with what it was here for. And so I ended up talking with, looking for the smartest kids in the room, and the smartest kids in the room were actually Bitcoiners. So the narrative of Bitcoin clicked much more, and so little by little, I became what we call a Bitcoin maximalist. And so I stopped everything I was doing in crypto in 2017, and in 2018 I became this Bitcoin maximalist. And after a few years in Bitcoin, we spent so much time thinking about Bitcoin, being with Bitcoiners as well. Like a lot of Bitcoiners became a friend of mine. That I was like, okay, I have to align my energy and my time with my revenue, with my economic incentive. And so that's why I decided to build something on Bitcoin.
How many ICOs did you get wrecked by?
So the funny thing
because I did.
So actually, I never got paid in shitcoins. And I actually never really owned shitcoins. I remember that the first time I bought a little of Bitcoin and a little of Ethereum, like just a few hundreds. And then one day a client paid me in Ethereum, but guess what? I actually lost the keys. So I never received those Ethereums. And then every time I got paid, I was paid in USDT that I then used to stack sats.
So, sorry, Steph, what were you doing at the time to get paid in crypto, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, for example, I was in New York City, and the guy proposed me to ask me to run his crypto marketing agency. And so, for example, I had a client who was an ex-managing partner at Morgan Stanley, and he wanted to put gold on the blockchain. And so I was trying to do some, project management for him, this type of things. I was like, what the fuck is that? The thing is that I had no clue about it at the time. But the funny thing is that people out there were even more clueless, actually, And so, that's why little by little, I became a Bitcoiner because I realized that, in my opinion, at least, crypto people were a bit clueless about what they were doing. They were not going deep into it, if you want, So, yeah.
So your background is engineering, is it, or?
No, my background is product and marketing. So okay. I work for big companies, big fast-moving consumer goods companies. Yeah, I did a lot of stuff, actually. I worked for a lot of different industries. I worked a bit in the banking industries. I worked in fast-moving consumer goods industries. I worked in the energy industry. I worked in the automobile industry at Nissan at the time. I even worked at McDonald's. You know the meme? Well, when I was young, I worked at McDonald's. That was my first job. I worked at McDonald's.
Most shitcoiners, they've done the McDonald's turn.
McRoyal with cheese. I had one of those. You're entering into Bitcoin 2017, 2018. I'm impressed. I'll admit it. I bought shitcoins. I lost some money on ICOs. So it's actually impressive that you didn't lose too much money with that. But it is funny how, some of the smartest people in the room, seemingly smartest people in the room, are actually the dumbest. So when they talk about blockchain this, blockchain that, crypto this, crypto that, it's like, actually you don't know what you're talking about. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I have to say, I don't know if it's because I'm I'm a woman or what, but I'm also trusting a lot my intuition. And my intuition was telling me that something was off, I don't know, something didn't fully click with the crypto value proposition. It was a lot of my intuition as well that told me, well, no, maybe don't put your money into this thing.
Well, you're right. So we'll talk about Peach Bitcoin in a minute, and you've got an interesting history and background, but we'll talk about exchanges, and people know what exchanges are, but perhaps we could just sort of start at a high level and maybe drill down to what Peach Bitcoin is. Could you give us sort of what a centralized exchange is, what is a decentralized exchange, and what is Peach Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer exchange?
Yes. So a centralized exchange is, okay, so put it in simple words, people can buy Bitcoin through basically a Bitcoin company, a Bitcoin broker, basically a Bitcoin exchange. So they're going to send a bank transfer to a Bitcoin company, basically. And centralized exchange often ask for a verification process. So what we call KYC, which is know your customer, which is essentially giving away your identity, your passport, and sometimes even more information than your passport for the centralized company to collect. And then they're like, okay, I know who you are now. I keep this information about your identity in my database, and I note that this person linked to this passport has bought Bitcoin for me. That's centralized exchange. And actually, I would make a difference between, I would say, centralized exchange and verification exchange, because you can be centralized but not asking for the verification process. So that's centralized exchange. So like Kraken, Coinbase, etc. Most of the time, a lot of those exchanges are actually designed for traders. When you go to Kraken, Bitstamp, or whatever, it's a bit scary. It's a dark kind of screen with a lot of charts everywhere. So it's really designed for traders. Now we saw a lot of centralized exchange coming up, but designed for the plebs, designed for regular people. I can think about Amber in Australia. I can think about Relay in Europe, Pocket Bitcoin, many, or even Cash App in a way. Those are still centralized exchange, but with a different type of audience, a different type of design. Then we have then peer-to-peer exchanges. Peer-to-peer exchanges, the difference is that instead of buying Bitcoin or selling Bitcoin to a Bitcoin broker, a Bitcoin company, you're actually selling or buying to another person. So essentially, you're not sending your bank transfer to a central entity, but you're sending your bank transfer to an individual. So no one knows actually that you actually bought Bitcoin. Because I send a bank transfer to Gordon, and it could be I sent you 100 Swiss francs, maybe because, I don't know, I bought whatever, from you, but not Bitcoin. So, yeah, that's the type of exchanges that we have. And then, of course, so in the case of Peach is a centralized entity because we're a company, we're a startup with a decentralized order book. So a decentralized peer-to-peer order book, exactly the same than HODL. Then we have BISC or RoboSats, which is those entities are a different beast because they are a decentralized entity running a decentralized order book. So they are not a company, if you want. So those are of course, everything comes with trade-off. Then people just choose the services that matches their needs the best. Everything comes with trade-off, So more or less, that's all the categories.
So, Steph, we have had peer-to-peer platforms in the past, thinking of local Bitcoins. There's Paxful, HODL. But in the case of local Bitcoins, they've discontinued. I can't remember which one, HODL or Paxful, have moved to KYC. Why is that? Why has it been difficult to maintain a peer-to-peer exchange?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. So local Bitcoin, I think that from what they communicated, they stopped their business just because I think they moved to something else, because they've been in the game they're the OG in the game. They've been in the game for like, I don't know, like 8 years or so, and I think they choose to discontinue. They were not forced to discontinue. Paxful, they closed because the ex-CEO Ray made it quite clear. They closed because they had a team issue at the funding team level. It is difficult because government wants to surveil everything, and of course peer-to-peer is trying to circumvent that. Peer-to-peer is circumventing. Okay, we do not know who is actually buying and selling Bitcoin with peer-to-peer order book. So yeah, of course, government, they want their hand on any single on-ramp, off-ramp that exists. So the name of the game is to navigate with the regulation, basically, or to create a complete decentralized entity à la BISC. But it's not trivial to implement, and it comes with trade-off because BISC is very complicated to use, and with
I can testify to that.
Yeah, exactly. It's complicated. It's not for all the pre-coiners, to use BISC. So the trade-off with Pitch was like, okay, we are a centralized entity. We are going to play with to use the regulation to our advantage. The regulation which says that non-KYC, that you can trade KYC free up to 1,000 per day, which is quite good for the regular person.
$1,000, euros.
1,000 Swiss francs. Yeah.
1,000 Swiss francs. Okay.
Yeah, per day, which is which is still a shame, obviously, but for the average person nowadays, it's still a reasonable amount to trade with. Well, up until hyperinflation, maybe.
Yeah, so we've seen, like just today, the news coming out of America, SEC pursuing Binance, and just last week, Binance quit or ceased on-roading with the Australian dollar in Australia. So we're starting to see these crackdowns onto on-roading into what is the largest exchange out there. How is it a threat to Peach Bitcoin? Is that something you might be concerned about? The government comes knocking on your door and just saying, yeah, we don't want you running the service. Can they prevent that?
So first of all, I'm not going to touch the US market at all. I think you guys already have a lot of, no, not you. You're not in the US, but yeah, they have a lot of great startups out of the US. There are Cash App, Strike, and everything. So, and the regulatory framework in the US is way too complicated. And in Europe, in Switzerland, Peach Bitcoin is already affiliated and accredited by the regulation. So we already have the license that our model is compliant with AML laws. So far so good. We are playing with the navigation quite well so far, and we'll see how it evolves. And
is it open to non-Swiss residents?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so anyone can join. Sorry, I just want to go through a step-by-step guide for new people coming in. Anyone can join Peach Bitcoin, and you can download the app onto Android and your iPhone as well, and desktop. Set up an account. You fund the account, and you can fund it in multiple currencies, and that can be done via Swift bank transfer, and then you can buy Bitcoin from someone else. Is that correct? Have I misstated anything so far?
So let's rewind a little bit and let's do it.
Faris hasn't done his research. Don't worry.
No. So at the moment, Pitch is in beta, so it's available to download on Android from the Play Store. For iPhone, it's only available through Test Flight, so you have to download that through our website. Pitch is not available on desktop; it's only a mobile application right now. Then, at the moment, we open the app only for European users. We opt in European countries. But I think we discussed it. We're going to have another strategy in the coming months. We're going to do the opt-out instead of the opt-in. So basically, we're going to opt out all the countries that we cannot do business with, which are considered like, high risk by the government, and we're going to let everyone else be able to download Pitch. At the moment, it's just European, but this is going to come very, very soon because a lot of Latin American people are asking us for Pitch, and we want to give them Pitch. So then you have Pitch on your phone, you create an account, and you create an account in less than 10 seconds. We are very, very proud of the account creation process because we're not asking you, the user, anything. Nothing. Not an email, not a phone number, nothing, nada. You just create an account and you have access to a non-ramp off-ramp, a peer-to-peer on-ramp off-ramp, and a self-custodial wallet. So you own your keys. From there, if you want to buy, you just you just publish your offer. I want to buy 1 million sats with Revolut and PayPal and Wise. I publish. I wait to receive a match, meaning a sell offer that matches my criteria. I match the sell offer. The seller receives a push notification saying, "Hey, this guy wants to buy from you." The seller look at the reputation of the guy. He's like, "Oh, this guy has a 5 pitches reputation. He's a great guy. I want to trade with him." The buyer receives a push notification that the trade has been accepted. He then sees the payment details. So he sees the phone number of the Revolut account. He goes on the Revolut account still from his phone, make the fiat payment. The seller receives a push notification from Pitch saying, "Hey, the payment has been made. Confirm that you received the payment." The seller confirms that he received the payment, and the sats are sent to the buyer, either on the Pitch wallet or on whatever wallet of the buyer's choice.
So the Peach app itself, so Peach acts as the escrow. And this is something I really appreciated on your website was you have screenshots of that process. Because I remember trying Bisq once, and the concern was, hang on, if I'm sending this person my money, how do I know they're going to send me my Satoshis? That process I didn't think was explained so well. But yeah, on your website, I thought that explained quite well how the behind the scenes of the process works.
Yeah, absolutely. We have this escrow system in place. So basically, the seller, to be able to publish an offer, before publishing an offer, he has to put his sats into an escrow. The escrow is a 2 out of 2 multi-signature escrow between Pitch and the seller. So meaning that both Pitch and the seller has a key to that escrow. After 30 days, though, the escrow becomes a single signature for Pitch. Why? Because the seller can be a malicious actor. And if the seller is malicious, we still need to push the sats to the buyer, right? So after 30 days and the dispute is raised, we are able to push the sats to the buyer. This escrow is great because when a buyer enters a trade, he knows that the sats are already there. He even sees the link of the escrow.
Yeah, I think the system's really good, Steph. And there are 3 things that immediately jumped out to me straight away. And one of them was on your website. It quotes, "KYC free Bitcoin is the best Bitcoin." And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, I need to have a look at that. And 2 things that I really appreciated was you could download the app via an APK. So people who are concerned about privacy, and eventually you'll have an iPhone app in the App Store. They don't want to tie to the Google or the Apple ID and that kind of stuff. So I just appreciated that privacy aspect, and that showed that you guys are on the right track to be able to download an APK and install it for people on Graphene or different de-Google phones. And the third thing that I was impressed with the network fees. So at the moment, everyone's going crazy on ordinals and BRC20, which we've talked about in the past, and the network fees going through the roof. But on your app, you're actually able to specify actual, change the default network fees to, calculate yourself or whatnot. So we don't have to go into all that stuff, but I was just impressed straight away that you guys kind of get it from a usability, from a privacy, because I've used HODL, I've used Bisq and all that kind of stuff, and I consider myself technical, but the need for Peach exists, and I might be taking words out of your mouth, but the need exists because the interface and the whole process is pretty horrible if you want to buy KYC-free Bitcoin.
Sure. Thank you. No, thank you. Yes, I mean, we do care about. Of course, there are trade-offs. Okay, of course there are trade-offs, but we're Bitcoiners. The whole team is Bitcoiners. The whole team is Bitcoin maximalist, and we do care about providing a good UX, a good journey, without compromising on some basics of privacy. And yeah, that's very important to us. So basically, us, Pitch, we do not know anything about the user, like anything. What we know is the order book. Because when you create an account, your account is actually your Pitch public key. That's what your account is. Your Pitch ID is the first 8 digits of your Pitch public key. And then we know that Pitch ID 123 has about 1 million sats with Revolut today from Pitch ID 456. That's what we know, the public order book. That's it. All the payment data in the app, when you input, for example, your phone number or your IBAN, we do not see it. This is end-to-end encrypted. We do not see it. We only see it if you raise a dispute. Otherwise, we do not see that as well. The app data are stored on your phone, and that's why that's why if you lose your backup to the Pitch account, you actually lose your data. All your data are stored on your phone, not on our server. That's quite important as well for us.
That's extremely important. That's amazing, because even privacy services, KYC, like Paxful in the past and HODL HODL, you were able to buy and sell using a peer-to-peer marketplace, but then they introduced KYC. And so just to reiterate, you guys do not require KYC, but not only that, you can't actually see the individual transfers and things that are being done between the buyers and sellers either. So that's amazing privacy.
No, yeah, that's we're very happy about Pitch right now. It's true. I'd say we're very proud of Pitch. Like we're exciting to see it grow.
And there's a really cool feature. I looked at I didn't see it in the app. I downloaded that, but I saw in the screenshots of what Faris was talking about before. It's like if you're using a BISC or something and you're sending money to someone else, well, how do you know, that it's going to get there or not? But I saw in the, there was a little place in the escrow sort of field that you could like click on a hyperlink and it actually showed you, I think from a block explorer, the transaction ID of what was actually happening. So you could see actually that those funds from the seller are actually there. Like I can see that the seller has actually got that money in escrow. Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. As a buyer, you have the peace of mind, as we say, to know that the sats are already there when you enter a trade.
Don't trust, verify.
Don't trust, verify. Exactly.
Wow. No, it's a very impressive service, Steph. And do you mind telling people how you came up with the name? I thought it was quite cute when I read about that.
So yeah, everyone is asking this question, and then you might be just disappointed by the answer because it was quite random. Just needed a name, and I remember exactly where I was. I was in a coffee shop. I was like, what? I don't know what type of name I could choose. It's so complicated to find a name. What I knew is that I didn't want a nerdy name. I didn't want a Bitcoin related name for 2 reasons, for OPSEC reasons and for approachability for the noobs. And I wanted something fun, cute, approachable. And so, I don't know, I was like, stupid thought process. I was like, I did the apple kind of thought process, and I was like, what fruit is orange-ish? And Pitch came up, and it starts with a P, so it's like pitch to pitch, peer to peer. It's orange. It's cute. There is plenty of jokes that can be said with Pitch in every languages. So voila, everyone liked Pitch. I was like, okay, let's fucking go. It's Pitch.
I thought I read somewhere that you came up with the idea over a bowl of peach schnapps. Because, that's on your website. Oh,
yeah, I saw that photo too. Yeah, I thought it was peach vodka or peach schnapps or something. Yeah.
The peach bottle?
Yeah, the peach bottle and the photo on your website.
No, the peach bottle. Well, we bought the peach bottle because we named the app Peach.
Ah, that came later. Okay.
It came after. Yeah.
But I got to tell you, like when I first heard the name Peach Bitcoin, you don't forget it because there's so many bits, websites, crypto this, bit that.
Yeah.
You don't forget the name Peach Bitcoin.
Exactly. That was the goal. That was the goal, and I think we validated the name over the past year. Definitely.
Très bien.
Okay, I'm going to ask an annoying question, and this is what happens to every peer-to-peer. And what I've been frustrated using Beers, Hodl, Hodl, Paxful is two main things. One is the lack of liquidity. You want to buy Bitcoin, but there's not enough sellers. And two is the premium price. So, you're buying 5% above or whatever. Have you guys solved that? Are you solving it?
Yeah. No, that's the core of the business, basically. Liquidity is a big one. So we have, so there are several ways to go with that. First of all, at all time, we have around 500 buy offers open at all time in the app. And sometimes I'm having fun checking the order book of Hodl and Binance. We actually have more buyers on Pitch, more open buy offer on Pitch than on Binance peer-to-peer and Hodl and some competitors in Euro, for the Euro market, obviously. So buyer, I don't think it's going to be too complicated for us to get buyer, but obviously in peer-to-peer, as you said, how to get sellers. So first, what we're doing is that we have zero fee for sellers, so it's free to sell your Bitcoin on Pitch. And then it's extremely fast to sell your Bitcoin on Pitch because we designed the UX around rapidity. Rapidity is extremely important for me. Rapidity, usability, and all from your phone. So you can literally sell your sats from your swimming pool, basically. And I can tell you that the median time currently to sell Bitcoin is 9 minutes on Pitch. So basically, the first strategy is to develop more and more features for the sellers. We have a bunch of features in the roadmap dedicated to attract more and more sellers into the app. Then I think when we'll have a bit more money, doing more business dev towards maybe miners, towards people who want to do arbitrage, this type of thing. And I think that's my theory, but we'll see in the bull market if my theory is valid or not. But I think that if Pitch is still there during the bull market, and if Pitch is adopted by retail in the bull market, I think that those pre-coiners will be actually the one experiencing Bitcoin by buying and selling a lot. And I think that the mass, let's say, the mass will be the one bringing liquidity, not necessarily the current arbitrage and the current Bitcoiners. Yeah. And your second question, the premium. So that's interesting because, well, I do not, as Pitch, we do not want to decide on the premium. It's a complete free market. The seller is free to sell his Bitcoin as whatever price he wants, and the buyer is free to accept it or not. And here we are working on integrating live market data to send signal to the buyer and the seller on what the market looks like. And so sellers will be incentivized to modify their offer according to the market dynamics. And I think it's going to become very interesting to watch that as Pitch grows.
And how are you getting that data? Is that an average of several exchanges, or how are you calculating?
No, even the market data of the Pitch marketplace. So we can communicate to the seller, for example, what is the average premium of all completed trade offer on this specific payment methods, or how many buy offer there are live for this payment method, or how many times his sell offer has been matched by a buyer versus another sell offer. We can have a lot of fun with just the marketplace of pitch. But what you just said is interesting as well, because at some point we were thinking of also potentially, because right now we are showing the Bitcoin price from centralized exchange, right? From centralized and exchange that ask for KYC. So we are showing the Bitcoin standard price on our app and even all the other app. It's the KYC Bitcoin price. I think it might be interesting to think about showing a Bitcoin price that is from a peer-to-peer marketplace. So the real Bitcoin price one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And as a seller, for example, if I was to put in, I want to sell how many sats at this price, it'd be really useful to see, well, how am I compared to the rest of the market? And, you could see a little thing that says, well, actually your price is 5% above the market price, or, that would be really interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Now we can have a lot of fun with we can have a lot of fun. It's showing all those data. It's basically giving the actor of the market, of the free market, all the data that they need, that is happening live on the market, for them to make their choices. That is actually that is decided based on real data, on data from the market dynamics.
Do you think we will see an event or something going on where, this happened in India when they eliminated the two highest bank denominations of cash, where Bitcoin is traded at a premium, like they went 20% up in India. But do you see that happening for any reason with peer-to-peer version Bitcoin, where people go, for whatever reason, they're like, I want to pay more for peer-to-peer Bitcoin rather than buying off a centralized exchange?
Well, yes, absolutely. And I think it's already happening. Like proof is, we already have users, and we already have users who are willing to pay X premium for their KYC free Bitcoin.
And is that tax avoidance? Is that, do we know the reasons behind that? Like, what do you think is driving that?
But the reason is I don't want to give away, the reason is privacy. I don't want to give away my passport to buy Bitcoin. I don't want anyone else to know that I own Bitcoin, because I'm opting out from a system. It's my choice to opt out from this currency, and this is my own decision to decide to operate on a new money. And it's not anyone else's business. It's my own business. So I don't see why I should inform a third party that clearly has proven that this third party doesn't want any good for me. I want to opt out from the current system in all privacy. That's the reason. And the second reason is simply usability. Like, come on, get a noob or a pre-coiner is like, I want to buy Bitcoin. Get him to explain to him, but go back home, get your passport somewhere, wherever you keep it, come back, let's take a picture of your passport together, blah, 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 wait for 2 days, and you might have an account. Nah, come on. Just from a product standpoint, it doesn't make any sense as well, So it's both.
I remember, the days of 2017, people trying to buy Bitcoin, and it would take 2 weeks for your account to get processed. And by that time, the price went up X amount. And so people had it in their head on buying Bitcoin at $4,000. Now it's at, $6,000. I'm not going to buy Bitcoin. I'll wait for it to come back down because they missed that 2 week move. When you're saying in a matter of seconds, you get an account up and running, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, no, it matters. Usability, especially for pre-coiners, usability matters. They will use the product that is the most performant, the most usable. Basically, performance, usability. At the end of the day, we're providing a product, right?
Yeah.
So,
and in fairness to centralized exchanges, because I helped a friend, even though I suggest I didn't know about Peach Bitcoin at the time, it's a couple of weeks ago, and they just wanted to do it, the fastest, quickest way, and I think it was Binance in the end. Like, in fairness to centralized exchanges, it was fairly quick, but of course, what are you actually paying for? You're paying with your government ID, your information, your mobile phone. So you could talk about buying KYC for Bitcoin at a premium, although Peach Bitcoin, it might not be a premium, but at a centralized exchange, you're actually paying a premium, and the premium paying is your privacy. So
Exactly.
you have to
Exactly.
try that. But if you're able to do both, if you can lower the price and have a good price and not have any KYC stuff, then that's the holy grail, isn't it? So
exactly. But I think I guess the price the premium from sellers will go down as they will have more and more sellers and more competition. But I mean, at some point as well, Bitcoin is not meant to be traded to always be traded at the same price, right? I mean, we cannot want Bitcoin number go up, like the price to go up, and still want to buy Bitcoin cheap. At some point, there is a cognitive dissonance here, Bitcoin is meant to go up. So the point is stack an amount of Bitcoin, and people will.
Yeah, and don't tell anyone about it. Yeah, like the first rule of Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, right.
It's like when you see Bitcoin stickers on laptops, like, no, don't do that. It's great that you want to spread the message, but not in public. And it's like, don't host a Bitcoin Basics podcast. You're a target.
I don't have a Bitcoin first. I lost it in a boating accident. Remember?
Yeah, we were on that trip together. That's right.
Yeah. Several boating accidents.
Yeah. With Jimmy Hoffa and John McAfee.
So I'm going to ask an annoying question. And that is, when Lightning?
So we talked about, so last week we were in a team retreat all together in Spain, and we talked about that. And Lightning is not trivial to implement at all, especially if we wanted to implement a self-custodial Lightning on-ramp, off-ramp. So we're first thinking of because the question is not necessarily, what is the question behind when Lightning? The question is why Lightning on Pitch? And the why Lightning on Pitch is because of the high fees environment. So what we want is actually to reduce the fees. We do not care much about the instantaneity on Lightning on the exchange, to be honest. It's not the number one criteria. The number one issue to solve is the fees. So how to solve the fees? Well, we came up with other ideas that are less complicated to implement than Lightning and can still save on fees. So, for example, as simple as batching transaction. And batching transaction can actually save up quite a big amount on fees on Pitch. Yeah. So we're first going to implement features that are 80-20, so 20% effort for 80% of profitability, let's say. And then down the road, I think next year, we will see how we can, if Lightning makes sense. We're also thinking about integrating Bitcoin Liquid, maybe.
I was going to ask that, yeah.
Yeah. We talked with Blockstream a few weeks ago. It might make sense. And
I think you're right. I really like your answer because, when I asked that question, it was a little bit of a trolley question, but a lot of people ask it, and it wasn't so much the speed, it was more the network fees. The transactional fees. So if you can get the fees lower, then that's fine.
Exactly. Absolutely. And that's why I always say, treat Pitch Bitcoin. Yes, it's about Bitcoin. It's built on Bitcoin. Fine. Okay, that's whatever. But it's a product now that we need to deliver to the users. And so to deliver a good product, we need to ask ourselves the good questions on the product. And here, indeed, the good question was, why do we want to implement Lightning? And not just, let's implement Lightning because it's trendy,
Absolutely, yeah. Faris, I have more questions, but you go for it. I've dominated.
No, you go. I've got my simpleton questions out of the way. You can dive in deep now, Gords.
All right. No, I was just thinking of the usability, and a lot of people listening to this, they might not have used a peer-to-peer. And I know you explained that at the beginning, but perhaps it'd be worth going through that again, because people listening to this, they might not have bought Bitcoin, or they might have bought Bitcoin, but they bought it from Coinbase or Kraken or Binance.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of peer-to-peer, a peer-to-peer marketplace, how does that work? And I know you've sort of gone through this again, but maybe from a perspective of buyer, because I guess most people listening to this are probably looking at buyer, how does that work with Peach Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think people should not overcomplicate it, because it's a bit the same than Airbnb or Tinder or whatever. Peach is just a matchmaking platform at the end of the day. It's a cyberspace where people go and get matched. So I want to buy 1 million sats with Revolut, PayPal, and bank transfer. There is someone else who wants to sell 1 million sats with bank transfer and PayPal. We get a match because we have two payment methods in common. And as a buyer, I say, okay, I see that he accepts as well PayPal and bank transfer. I'm going to send him a signal. I'm going to match him, send him a signal saying, I want your offer with PayPal. He's going to receive the signal, the buy proposal. He's going to say, okay, that's a good proposal. The reputation is good. I want to trade with this person. And the buyer sees the the payment detail information. So the IBAN, the phone number, whatever payment data that will allow him to make the fiat payment, because the fiat payment doesn't happen on Pitch at all. Pitch has no link whatsoever with any fiat payment rails. You have to go outside Pitch Bitcoin to make the fiat payment. And then that's it. You confirm on Pitch that you have received the payment, and you rate your user. I don't think, to be honest, I think, okay, we have a lot to improve on the UX still, for sure. But I think that most people are already quite comfortable with peer-to-peer marketplaces. I mean, look at Airbnb. We peer-to-peer our houses. Look at even Uber. We just put in touch a rider and a driver. Even a bit Tinder. It's a bit the same. You match someone, you send a signal that you're interested. The person says, okay, I match you back, and boom, you get into a trade, where the trade here is a chat system. Pitch has been built a little bit the same. It has been built as well to be mobile native, mobile first. So that's why the user journey is extremely, I think, is quite smooth.
Tinder can be a horrible trade, but that's a story for another time. So I like your analogy of Airbnb. That's good, because Airbnb isn't providing the properties themselves. They're just matching people who want to rent and people who've got a house. So that's sort of what you guys are doing, that peer-to-peer marketplace.
We're just a matchmaker.
Just a matchmaker.
Matchmaker providing the platform to do the matchmaking, providing the security infrastructure with the escrow, and providing the customer support with the dispute management system that happens in the app.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. And also you talked about reputation, which is something that is extremely important as well, because obviously if you want to buy Bitcoin or even sell Bitcoin, there's a reputation based on that. But that it's like someone might have done that with HODL or something like that, but then they're moving to a new platform and now they're starting from scratch again. How can we maybe implement or incorporate some sort of reputation system that's sort of maybe a bit open, and I don't know.
I love your question, because that's a feature that we have in the roadmap, and I think we should quite fast. We want people to not start from scratch, exactly as you described it. If you have a 5-star rating with 1,000 trade on HODL, Paxful, Binance, whatever, you should be able to import this reputation into Pitch. The feature is written already. We just need to start to ship it. And then the other way around. Because the Pitch reputation score is linked to your Pitch public key. And this is going to be exportable and verifiable, because the Pitch, you can verify your Pitch public key with your Pitch PGP key that is derived from the public key. It's a bit like, this is very, very similar to Nostr. So on Nostr, you can verify that what you write is that the message is actually coming from the account that it says it is from, and it pitches the same thing. So we want, in the near future, we want to be able, well, it's already possible, but we didn't implement the feature yet. We want to make pitch reputation score exportable.
Yeah, that's really important, and I'm really glad to hear that, because there are so many amazing platforms around, but they're all siloed. I've got one system here, I've got my reputation here, and especially for Bitcoiners, we've already got this public-private key system anyway. So why can't we implement some sort of interoperability between all these systems? So that's cool. Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely, 100%. And even I think the ideal world would be that we all have a shared order book, maybe hosted on Nostr,
Interesting. Yeah. I know you're beginning and Peaches, sort of, you guys are just getting started and everyone's like, where is this? And you mentioned that, it's pretty much Eurocentric in the moment, but you are going to maybe, apart from countries that can't participate, like as an Australian or as, I don't know, someone in Africa or whatever, is there a roadmap for that? And what would that look like?
Australia, I do not know about Australia. I'm meeting with my lawyer on Friday, so I will ask him. But first, I think the easy win is for us to make pitch available in Latin America. That's the easy win, because I think regulation in Latin America are less invasive, maybe at first. So yeah. But I'm going to see that with the lawyer, because I said I accept countries that we need to opt out. I would like to make pitch available, everywhere, without any.
So you might not want to answer this one, but if you're not in a European country, but you can set up like an iStore account in Europe or a VPN on your phone, is that a possibility to join Peach Bitcoin? So as a curveball question, you probably don't want to answer that one. Your lawyer might tell you that.
No, exactly. I think you said it all. I mean, technically it's possible.
Okay. But you'd still need a bank. Even if you use a VPN, you still need to do a European payment, like a SEPA or a payment anyway.
Yeah, but if you true. But there are like some fiat online wallets that are solving this. For example, on Wise, Revolut, a lot of currencies.
Right.
Sounds like a fun challenge we can play around with. Because as Bitcoiners, we like to follow the rules.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No, it's fun. It's a bit like how do we say it again? Ask for permission later. Like try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you ask permission first, then you don't do anything, to be honest. It's like, okay, you're not doing something completely illegal, but I mean, do it. And, voila. Like when we started Pitch, we didn't have the license at first. So now, yes, we have the license, but at some point you have to run into the unknown a little bit. If you always want to do something in the known framework, then I can tell you you're not going to create that much because, well, it's not possible. Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Or wait for regulation. I mean, if you waited for regulation, you'd be waiting 20 years.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
Okay. Is there anything you want to tell us about Peach that we didn't ask, or any features, or what's on the roadmap, or feel free to plug whatever.
Tell us where people can find you, follow you, all your social medias, all that stuff.
Right. Well, people can find us on Twitter at Pitch Bitcoin. We also have a Telegram group. But it's true that this Telegram, you can find, all our social media links are into our website. So we have a Telegram group, a Discord group where we provide customer support in Spanish, German, French, Dutch, Italian. And then what's excited to say, the app is available in Spanish, which is great, and we're actually working to release one new language every 2 weeks or so. So that's quite exciting. We're working on making the UX even more smooth. We are going to implement RDF for the fees in the coming weeks. We are going to implement, as I said earlier, the batching transaction. We are going to implement live market data for both the buyer and the seller, with the seller having the ability to change his premium depending on the market data that he receives. A lot of cool stuff.
It's so exciting, Steph, because like Faris and I, we have Bitcoin podcast, but we're also starting a new privacy venture. And this question has been, buying Bitcoin is easier and easier, but actually it's not easy to buy KYC free Bitcoin. And I've used BISC, I've used HODL, Pax, I've used them all. And apart from the technical aspect, lack of liquidity and premium stuff like that, it's a hassle. It's really, you're solving a very, very important problem. Yeah.
Thank you. And maybe to conclude I think the end goal is to make, the end goal for Pitch is to make stacking sats peer-to-peer the standard. So basically, Bitcoiners will not even necessarily know about KYC or not KYC. They will, because the KYC free peer-to-peer will then become the standard. If we manage to make Pitch Bitcoin top of mind awareness for the pre-coiners in the next bull market, then I think we will solve the liquidity problem, and we will make stacking sats peer-to-peer the standard. Because if you think about it, I think that it competes. Pitch Bitcoin competes with centralized exchange as well.
Yeah, and that's how Bitcoin was intended to be, a peer-to-peer, electronic currency. Wow. Thank you very much, Steph. It's been enlightening, and we are very excited to use Peach Bitcoin. And even if we're not in a jurisdiction to do so, we're going to figure out a way.
Thank you so much, guys. It was really, really a nice and pleasant chat. Really nice.
Yeah, thank you, Steph. Thanks for your time.
C'était notre plaisir. Merci.
To an European conference?
Say that again, sorry?
Sorry. What was
are you guys going to come to an European event?
Hopefully sometime soon. Yes, I've just been to Bitcoin Alive in Sydney. The problem is living in where we do. It's a long way to get anywhere. But no, we're keen to get out to a lot more conferences, and but we'll keep our eye on the radar. But we'll follow each other on social media. Yes. And keep in touch. We'd love to have you back on when Peach Bitcoin is a few more months down the road. But it's been very exciting for us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate your time and your interest and your support. Thanks a million.
Pas du tout. Merci, Steph.
Thank you, Steph.
Ciao. Have a good day.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thanks for watching or listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share so we can spread this educational content to others like yourself. Visit bitcoinbasics.help.
Disclaimer. Any content provided by CoinCompass is for educational and informational purposes only and is not investment, legal, tax, or any other professional advice. A qualified professional should be consulted before making any financial decisions. CoinCompass will at times recommend certain products, services, and technologies, but these are opinions based upon our own or podcast guests' experience and not endorsements. We take no liability for out-of-date or inaccurate information, software bugs, manufacturing errors, technology misuse, or issues involving third parties. Visit coincompass.com for more information and please contact us.